Hey, what's up guys? This is Nick at Stridewise.com. Today I am taking a look at the service boot from the cult Canadian boot company, Dayton. So Dayton is a Canadian company founded by Charlie Walford in 1946, who made the company after he developed a really good reputation for repairing loggers' boots. And then over time, just like everyone doing any sort of really hard work was coming to him to help him out with their boots, and he just like launched his own company. And they've been making the boots by hand the same way since 1946, which is like pretty crazy when you think about it. I mean, they didn't start Goodyear welting until the 1960s. Nonetheless, this is a very sort of old school kind of brand. It's not an enormous company, but it does have like a real cult following among a lot of boot enthusiasts because it's really, really durable, really hard wearing, and really good looking boots. So let's get a closer look at this service boot. So before I go on, I did manage to get a discount code for you guys for these boots. I did not get these boots for free. Dayton did not sponsor this video. I haven't gotten any money for them. I actually wrote this whole review before I found out I was able to get a discount code for them. So they haven't colored the review in any way, but you can get 10% off a pair of these Dayton boots or any boots from Dayton. The discount code is kind of long. I've put it on the screen now, but it's also in the description below. So just take that. If you like the boots, you might not, but if you like them, you can take them, take it to the site and get 10% off, and I get a little kickback as well, so everyone wins. But it is not going to last forever, and eventually I'm going to have to cut this bit out of the video, so if you like them, yeah, you might want to do it sooner rather than later. So this is Dayton's service boot. Most boot companies, I mean, a lot of boot companies have a service boot, and it's always a good idea to look at a company's service boot because it's really the most basic aesthetic you can get for a boot, basically. So the construction and the materials are sort of what really shines through with a service boot. It's so called, by the way, because service boots are modeled after army boots, and this is indeed modeled after the Canadian military classic service boot, although Dayton says this is for the everyman. Now, honestly, obviously it's like a pretty basic, uncomplicated sort of aesthetic. This leather is really interesting. Like, it's a mixture of a brown and black and different colored browns. This is their pull-up leather. Brown and black, I mean, instinctively that shouldn't work well, but somehow these boots really do work very well. I really like the look of this leather, and I also really like the way it contrasts with the Goodyear welt around here. So it's this sort of boot. It's one of the few boots I've seen where it's very eye-catching, like there's a lot to look at here, but it's still very understated. It's not trying very hard. So it's a really nice sort of a masculine approach to fashion that I think a lot of guys are really going to enjoy. The sole on the heel, it has the Cat's Paw brand heel, which is like a brand that like mostly is just best known for making the heels of boots. It says, "Won't slip," and it does not slip. Like, the traction is really, really phenomenal on these boots. The rest of the sole is made from Vibram. The pattern is not dissimilar at all to the Vibram sole from Chippewa's service boot. You can check out that review as well. It is partly lined down by the vamp, although it's not lined around the shaft, so you get like a nice sort of nappy look there. You get 7 pairs of eyelets. There are no speed hooks up here, and I really like, again, the tan color here on the 270-degree Goodyear welt, contrasting with the browny, blacky leather. Again, it's something that feels like it shouldn't work, but it's a boot that really does look very fashionable without looking like it's trying to be fashionable at all. So it's a good balance I think a lot of guys are going to like. So this boot is available in 19 leathers right now. There's everything from Italian cordovan, which of course is more expensive, to a dark plum hatch green, to a bright yellow oil tan, like really any kind of leather you like, including Chrome XL if that's your thing. This is the brown pull-up leather. I'm really happy I got it because like I have plenty of Chrome XL service boots, but this leather, the way it goes back and forth between light and dark brown, I'm just crazy about it. This is Tier 1 6.5 ounce full grain leather from the United States. Dayton told me it comes from Horween or Seidel. I'm leaning towards Seidel. That's a Wisconsin tannery, but I could be wrong on that one. One thing I really like about oil tan leather though is that it's a very hardy leather. So when compared to something like, I don't know, Chrome XL or like some kinds of calf skin, like oil tan leather doesn't have quite the same luster, but it doesn't require much care. And it's still full of oils, so it doesn't need as much conditioning either. And it doesn't scratch easily. So it's a little bit more outdoorsy, I guess, which some people might consider a con. But again, I think for something this hardy, it really is good looking leather. So for conditioning, Dayton actually has their own product called OK Oil, and it's a mixture of beeswax and paraffin and some other oils. And when you combine that with the 270-degree Goodyear welt, this is going to do a pretty good job of repelling water, although it's not technically waterproof. Now you need to condition these every 6 weeks according to the instructions on the site, but they say that for all of their leathers. And again, this is an oil tanned leather. It's super hardy. I don't think it's going to be a big deal if you don't rigorously stick to that 6-week schedule. And you also, though, want to make sure that you clean these before you condition them. Otherwise, you can get like dirt trapped within the leather, and that can like shorten the leather's lifespan, potentially anyway. So you got to clean them, then you can condition them. So that's pretty much it. Again, very hard wearing leather. You don't need to worry too much about taking care of these, but I do want to mention that they do strongly recommend on the website to not use any conditioners, not use any shoe polishes or anything with silicone or anything with animal fat. The animal fat part is interesting because the oil tanned leather from Red Wing, you are supposed to use mink oil, but they don't want you to do that with Dayton's oil tanned leather because they say that can block the pores of the leather. So yeah, just like stick to OK oil or something similar. All right, so this sole, the heel here is cat's paw, like I mentioned. Pretty famous brand. It does not slip. The grip really is absolutely fantastic on this one. The rest of the sole is from Vibram. I honestly think there's a pretty good chance this is the same sole as my Chippewa service boots. Check that out, because this is also from Vibram, and it's like a mixture of rubber and cork. And yeah, this sole here from Dayton, it is a mixture of 700 nitrile and 100 lug. So it's also a combination of cork and rubber. So maybe it's the same. They look pretty similar. It's anti-slip and oil and chemical resistant. And again, yeah, just really slip resistant, really good grip. So there's a rubber outsole, there's the leather midsole as well. There's some cork filler, and there's a leather insole. And there's a steel shank for stability and arch support. And the arch support is pretty decent in the shoe as well. Finally, this is a Goodyear welt, so you can resole them if you want when the sole eventually runs through. And it also helps a lot with water resistance as well, but it's not technically waterproof like a pair of Timberlands or anything. Now, as for the fit and the sizes, these shoes are available in size 3 through 15, which is a pretty incredible variety of sizes and any width whatsoever. So like B, C, D, E, double E, triple E, no matter what size your foot is, there's a pretty good chance you can get your own shoe size. I mean, so long as you're not bigger than a size 15. They also fit true to size. So these are 11.5 for me, whereas like my Red Wings and Wolverines and Thursdays, and most of my boots, honestly, they're a size 11. When you order these boots, they do that thing where they ask you to send in a tracing of your foot, and they ask you to measure the ball of your foot and the instep and the heel as well, so they can like, I mean, they're basically customized boots. So that's like a really nice thing a lot of people are gonna be really happy with. The shock absorption is very good. The arch support is pretty good, but the break-in period, I gotta say, I have never in my entire life had as difficult a time breaking in a pair of boots as I have with the Dayton service boots. Like I saw God wearing these boots. Like it was just an out-of-body experience how painful it was wearing these boots. I could only wear them for like a couple of hours at a time, and then I had to have like a good day's rest in between for the first like at least week that I had these boots. So expect a difficult break-in. I mean, that might not be the same for everyone. I also, to be fair, I didn't send in my measurements for my foot or anything. I just sort of gave them like a rough idea. So it might have been different, but they did tell me when I spoke to them that, yeah, like a rough break-in is not uncommon with these boots. But they do have a tip for you. If you get a mixture of 1-to-1 water to isopropyl alcohol, you can put that on the boots themselves. The alcohol makes sure that it evaporates relatively quickly so the water doesn't mess with the leather too much, but that can help the leather to stretch a little bit if that's something that you need to do. So that's a tip from Dayton. If I were you, I'd take it because that break-in was not fun at all. Now, as far as the price goes, it can always change, but for a pair of these boots, you're looking at between $480 and $530. I've seen the price change a little bit here and there, but that's like about what you're looking at. And it is more expensive if you get more expensive leathers, but that's about what I paid for these. Now, the build time is about 4 weeks as well for these. That's not the same for everyone, but between like ordering them and getting them at my doorstep, it was about 4 weeks. So you can expect that if you order a pair of these. Again, some people hate that. Some people really like the idea of you like making an order and then like rushing off and making it to your exact specifications. I think the coolness outweighs the amount of time you have to wait there. You might not feel that way. That's up to you. In any case, the price of these boots, I'll be honest, I mean, yeah, like $500-ish, that's not especially cheap as far as boots go. But I do like these boots more than a lot of other boots I have that are more expensive. So I wasn't that disappointed by the price, actually. It's a really well-made boot. And of course, you can get 10% off with this discount code. So, you know, you do have options when it comes to the price. Okay, so why should you get a pair of Dayton service boots? They're available in absolutely any width, which I think is like a really big plus side. There are a lot of people out there that get super frustrated if they can't find boots in like a B width, which is like really even more rare than the wide widths. So that's gonna be good news for a lot of folks. They have a ton of different leathers you can choose from, which is cool. And I just absolutely adore this brown pull-up leather, this oil tan leather. I think it looks just super badass, and it has like very little care associated with it. Like you don't have to baby them like a lot of people feel they need to do. Even with something like, you know, Chrome XL or something like that, this is a very easy to take care of leather, and it also just looks absolutely fantastic, in my opinion anyway. And I just generally, I like the aesthetic, you know. The leather speaks for itself, the construction speaks for itself, and again, the contrast with this like a more tan wood-colored welt going around the outside, it looks fashionable without trying to look fashionable at all, which I think is a really thing. It's something that a lot of people really look for in their boots. And it's also pretty versatile, you know, like it's not a dress boot, but I do think this is one of the few boots you can wear with a t-shirt, and you can also wear them with khakis. So that's also a big upside. There were a few things you might not like quite so much about the Dayton service boots. Look, I do think they're versatile, but they are, you know, pretty hard to dress up. They are military-style boots, after all. You might have more luck if you got like one of the black leathers that they had, maybe. But nonetheless, again, the aesthetic is a bit military-like, so that's something to keep in mind. If you want boots you can wear with a suit, it might be a little bit tough with these. There are no speed hooks at the top, so it's a little bit hard to get on and off. But I'm sure if I'd asked for speed hooks, I could have gotten some. So that might just be my fault. It is water-resistant. It is not technically waterproof, if that's something that you're after. There is a little bit of wheeling on some of the stitches if that's something that bothers you. It's a pretty small detail. I don't think it affects durability or anything, but for some people, when they're spending 500 bucks on boots, they don't want any wheeling or any quality control issues like that whatsoever. So that's fair enough. It's also not completely lined. It's partly lined down by the vamp. It's not up around the shaft and everything. And honestly, again, this was one of the worst break-ins I've ever had with a pair of boots ever. That could be my fault. I did not send them these precise measurements to my heel or anything. I still think people are going to have a hard time breaking these in. I do want to make it very clear, these are really one of my favorite pairs of boots. Like, the break-in did not disqualify them from their inclusion on that list. I absolutely do adore these boots. But, you know, if they'd been fully leather-lined, like some Thursday boots, that might have been ameliorated. So, I don't know, that's just something worth considering. All right, so those are my thoughts on the service boot from Dayton. This really is one of my favorite boots. I'm not just saying that so long as you can handle the price and that break-in period. I think they're a pretty good buy. If you want to read the full written review, there's also some photos of me running around in these boots in Soho in Manhattan. You can just Google Stridewise and Dayton, and that should pop up. And make sure you subscribe as well, because I got a ton more boot reviews and comparisons coming up.